just the two of us.
All right.
And I'm still recording all this time, just the
two of us. What? What?
What happened?
I don't know. You started stumbling over some words there. I was getting kind of worried.
Oh no, that reminds me of a really awful thing that happened at work. Waiting.
Let's sing.
Holding. Oh, all right. I'm no longer holding.
All right, you can unhold now.
All right, let go.
Talk about whatever it was that you were talking about at work.
And a coworker was recently fired after being accused of showing up to work drunk. I thought that was like a rather outrageous accusation because I was like, I worked with this person plenty of times. I've never once gotten the notion that they ever came into work drunk or whatever. And then another coworker's like, oh yeah, no, she definitely has. I could smell it, and she was definitely stumbling through her words. I'm like, I guess I missed that part.
Interesting
Indeed.
Then there's my job where people come in high and or drunk all the time. / smoke on their breaks and come back to work.
Wild.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a thing. What's funny? This person offered to take a breathalyzer test, and they just said, no, you're just fired. And I'm like, wow. All right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Fired on the spot like that.
Just some random other coworker made an accusation, and then that was it. No ifs, no, nothing.
What happened to innocent? Excuse me, the other way. Innocent until proven guilty.
In the court of law, not in HR.
Not in capitalist society.
Exactly. Speaking of capitalist society, we watched the Santa Claus.
Perfect segues.
Nice. Yeah, we watched the Santa Claus, the really old Tim Allen movie. I think it probably came out in the 90s. I didn't check this.
94.
94. Wow.
Yes, sir. This movie is almost 30 years old.
Holy shit. I'm almost 30. This movie came out 2 years before me.
Mm-hmm. And it's aged just as poorly.
Has it?
Although, this movie isn't that bad.
It's not that bad. It doesn't hold up as great as childhood's Justin's mind kept it in there, but it's good. It's okay.
There's no outright egregious things to this movie. Outside of like damning capitalism 30 years ago.
I mean, it's kind of wild for the 90s, honestly. Very unpopular at the time. Not
to mention Scott Calvin's stances on things that change with becoming Santa Claus, of course. But I don't know. Watching this movie, it's been a long time since. When's the last time you watched this movie? Because for me, I can't remember the last time I've actually sat down and watched this movie full through.
I want to say at least 10 years. I'm 26, 16. Yeah, at least 10, maybe more.
Yeah, I would say like at the very earliest, like in my low 20s. So like 5 years ago, maybe.
I saw this movie and I have my thoughts on this one. I actually want to watch the sequels because I remember the second one being really good. I mean, better flat out. Hopefully that's still true. There was a third one. I don't remember seeing it. That one probably isn't amazing, but I still want to watch it anyway. And then Disney Plus just released a series, I believe, based on this franchise, and that sounds kind of exciting, actually.
Yeah, I looked up the premise for the Disney Plus show. I don't remember. I'm kind of in a similar boat, by the way, with the sequels too. I remember liking season the second movie. We get to meet a Mrs. Claus, which is great to go with the Santa Claus. I don't really remember the third movie that much, but I looked up because as I had no idea this series existed. The Santa Clauses is the name of the Disney Plus series. I had no idea this existed until I Googled the movie, looking up other things, and then to watch it. And this came up first. Like Google auto-completed and threw the S on top on the end and gave me this. And I was like, what the hell?
I don't remember this.
They really revived this like the Santa Claus 3 came out a while ago. Like that
2006.
Yeah, like I was going to say 15 years, but that's about right. That's a long time to just revive this random series like that. But I mean, they're only a couple episodes deep. I have no idea how many episodes they're planning to do, but the Santa Clauses is a show about Tim Allen trying to find his replacement for the
for the
his
job.
role as Santa Claus.
Without falling off a roof, I hope.
Probably without. Yes, we'll move.
Devin has to ruin everything. Anyway,
Well, it's our fault, really. We were in the wrong Discord chat.
Nah, it was him. He knew what he did.
Right. Totally not us.
Yeah, Devin knowing things.
So the Santa Claus is about him trying to find his replacement. Very strange kind of premise, I guess. But maybe it's not all that strange. But the implication at the end of that is that he has to die. Like, I don't, unless there's a different, like, if you can just give the coat and pants to someone else and have them become the Santa Claus, then, you know,
maybe my boy added
maybe
a clause to the clause, and he was like, additionally, it was like, what do they say? So it's like, I forgot the exact phrasing of the Santa Claus, but it was basically implying like death or some other scenario. I could not understand what that loophole really entitles or whatever, but maybe adds also retirement. And he'd be like, okay. He's thinking,
it's like
ahead.
Also not death though.
What if I'm just tired?
What if we had the lawyers not put in the part where I have to die?
And you know what this movie really reminds me of is how like reliant our childhood was on reruns. So this movie came out in 94. The sequel came out in 2002. That's a long time. That's almost 10 years. And I remember growing up and people around me loving the Santa Claus movie, and then, you know, when the Santa Claus 2, bigger hype, right? And that's just kind of like the tail of the tape for like just about anything that was made in the 90s. Yeah, you produced this property, it had its circulation, it either flopped or it did well, whatever happened, and then just it would rerun on anywhere and everywhere for years and years and years, and at some point, some random no-name generation just clings to it almost 10 years later, and they're like, all right, boys, we got greenlit for a sequel. Let's go. and it blows my mind because I think about like today, mostly like anime or any really, you know, TV related or movie related stuff, right? Where it's like, oh man, this whatever this thing is, it really deserved a sequel or a second season or blah, blah, blah. And people will like, you know, ask for it. And sometimes you end up waiting like a really long time, like 10 years for a sequel. But that timeline has mostly shrunk, probably due to the advent of the internet and people getting, you know, their voices heard faster across the world, where like you can get a sequel in like another year or 2 or 5 if it's like kind of bad or whatever. And I just think about like, wow, imagine just making this film, and it made, what was it? Made $190 million in the box office. I don't have a budget for the film, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's the relevant numbers. What was the ratio to the budget for them?
Unfortunately, did not give me their budget. Wait, does it say budget? Budget was $22 million. Holy, what a profit!
All right.
Decent profit. So it did pretty well. And then, you know, it kind of just fades a bit into obscurity. And then, you know, at some point in the year 2000, a bunch of kids were like, wow, I love this movie. And they were like, yes, time to cash in.
Finally, some movie producer was sitting in their office and they got the call and they were like, really? We got the role.
They like us. They really like us.
They really liked it. 8 years later. Well, I mean, production probably started a couple of years before that, but still, 6 years later, finally, I've been greenlit. I've been This is what I've been fighting for years. This has been my battle.
Maybe you're right. Who knows how long they were in production?
I looked up the Santa Claus, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So the quote as it is, in putting on the suit and entering the sleigh, the wearer waives any and all rights to any previous identity, real or implied, and fully accepts the duties and responsibility of Santa Claus in perpetuity until such time that wearer becomes unable to do so. And here's where we're actually wrong, and the lawyers have already taken care of this. Unable to do so by either accident or design. So the design part in there covers his, like, you know, the part where he doesn't have to die and can just be like, hey, you're Santa Claus now, to someone else.
Okay.
So they've got their bases covered in the new series then, because he can just be like, hey, put this shit on, get in the sleigh, and do the thing. Because he apparently still ages. The Santa Claus still ages.
Just slowly? Question mark.
I don't know. It's unclear. I haven't watched the series, but the what do you call it? The summary I looked up said he was on Scott was on his 65th birthday, prime retirement age.
Okay.
And so I mean, 30 years. Was Tim Allen 35 in the year 1994 or something like that?
I
Or
think
guess
he
Scott
was
Calvin.
probably younger. Oh, Scott Calvin. Who knows?
Maybe the idea of Scott Calvin was probably in theory 35. They're going to keep the continuity up, but
probably.
Yeah, I guess you still age normally. You immediately look older as the Santa Claus, but you do not actually physically age. You physically age, but like your looks don't change, I guess. I don't know how it works. He's 65, he's getting old, he's got back problems, and he doesn't want to be Santa Claus anymore. I wonder how that works. Does he just imagine if he went back to being like the crotchety businessman he was before becoming Santa Claus?
Oh God.
Like he just loses all of the Christmas spirit?
That'd be awful.
That would be dark.
Charlie went from, wow, my dad kind of sucks, to, wow, my dad's sad and he's awesome now. He learned how to be a father, to, oh, my dad sucks again.
He was late to all of my stuff. I was wondering what happened. And then, anyway, let's talk about the actual movie now. We've talked background knowledge of the movie, I guess.
I still got more to drop, but after the summary, I wasted time writing.
Yeah. Let's read a summary 15 minutes into the recording.
Scott Calvin is a divorced. Jesus, why do I keep saying this?
That was quick.
I hate it.
That was
I did
a
this
quick
in the
turnover.
pre-read too, man. I practiced this. I wrote this.
You did.
Okay. Scott Calvin is a divorced toy salesman, and it's his turn to have his son Charlie for Christmas Eve. After a rough night with running home late from work, burning the Christmas turkey, and having dinner at Denny's, the two go to bed rather stale. Suddenly, Scott and Charlie are woken up by quite the visitor. It's Santa, and he's on the roof, and he's falling off the roof. Santa's not moving anymore. Oh my God, they killed Santa! After being coerced by his 8-year-old son, Scott reluctantly puts on Santa's suit, hops in the sleigh, and delivers presents all around the world. Their night ends at the North Pole, where Scott looks to get out of his commandeered suit and wake up from his really weird dream. However, head elf in charge Bernard has informed Scott that by putting on his suit, he has voluntarily agreed to the Santa Claus, becoming the next Santa Claus. Not Claus the person, Claus the contract. Well, actually, yes to both. One done the other. Anyway, the movie continues with Scott slowly but surely becoming the real deal Santa, all while trying to dodge capitalist critics at work, the misunderstood concerns of Charlie's mom and stepdad, who really just want Charlie to live in reality, school principals, a judge, and the cops. All of this and more in just 1 year. What a ride, eh?
It's like there's a real time skip here where he becomes Santa Claus, right? They do that they do that initial night of delivering all the presents. They get back, they go to the North Pole, he gets the whole thing done, and then they wake up the next morning. Charlie gets picked up, and then like immediately we're like halfway through the year now. And then immediately after that, it's like the next Christmas. We get a flash to like one soccer game, a business meeting somewhere in the middle, and then it's Christmas the next year again, basically. So it's not even like it's not even in 1 year. It's basically like a week. Most of this movie actually takes place in like a week. The important parts, anyway.
Yeah, a lot of the time scale was really weird for me. I was trying to like track it during the movie, and I'm like, how far are we still in winter? Is it fall? There's a soccer game. I think there's next Thanksgiving right there. I'm so confused.
Yeah. They do some real hard cuts in between what time of year it is. Because you're right. He gets the list in like the middle of the like fall, basically, or something like that. Charlie goes to a soccer game, and I don't know, for some reason his wife or his ex-wife and her new husband Neil have not seen him in months, because when he shows up to the soccer game and he's got the line of kids ready to sit on his lap because he looks exactly like Santa Claus, because he is Santa Claus, they're in utter shock because I guess they haven't seen him in months. now for some reason.
Maybe, but also he said he gained like 45 pounds in a week, and you know his beard's growing in real fast. Who knows, man? I really don't know anymore. It's wild.
Yeah, the time scale is wild in between Christmases. You have no idea when things are actually going down or not. But anyway, to rewind to the first Christmas Eve / Christmas Day. God, I love being an adult and understanding adult jokes in kids movies.
Because I have a story for you when you're done.
Because goddamn, if the Denny's bit did not kill me.
Yeah?
The Denny's bit killed me with not starting with him walking in and go like the Judy, the bar the waitress asks, you know, like, oh, you with this Japanese or whatever this Asian company.
Yeah.
That and he's like, no, I just need a seat. And then Charlie splurts out, hey, Dad burnt the turkey. And she's like, oh, I know exactly where to put your stupid ass.
Next to these 4 other idiots.
Next to these, like 3 or 4 other dads in this back room corner of the Denny's where no one can see their shame as these dads sit with their kids. And Scott looks around and gives the dad nod to all the other dads sitting at the table, and they all know what the other has done, and they accept that fact as brothers in arms in fatherhood.
Well, okay, maybe there was one, I think like the first dude we see, I think he had like 2 daughters present.
He did.
He could just, you know, anything could be going on there. There's at least one dude that confirmed, yeah, I burned the turkey. I have my my hand wrapped up from the ER.
Yeah, that guy fucked up. I don't know what he might have been in like a deep fried turkey accident or something.
You know what? Probably. I believe that 100%.
Or he didn't have a quality fire extinguisher on hand.
That is also true.
Scott Calvin did.
And remember, kids, Denny's is an American institution.
Everybody loves Denny's.
And everyone loves Judy.
Yeah, goddamn, did seeing that for the first time in like at least 5 years kill me, man. That was so good. You
know, now we're here talking about adult jokes. I'm going to read this little blurb from Wikipedia on the Santa Claus. I'm assuming this is entirely related to the first film and not the franchise. So here I go. At one point of the film, a brief exchange between Scott and Laura takes place in which Laura hands Scott a piece of paper with Neil's mother's phone number on it. Scott then says, 1-800-SPANK-ME, I know that number. In the United States, the exchange was removed from all home media releases of the film, except for the VHS and Laserdisc releases, and most digital downloads starting with the 1999 DVD release after a 1996 incident in which a child from Steilacoom, Washington, called that number, which turned out to be an actual working sex line, and incurred a phone bill of $400 US, equivalent to $691.11 in 2021. Thank you, whoever did that conversion for us. This line is removed from Disney Plus on print. On television broadcast, the number is changed to 1-800-POUND. I'm not sure that's any better.
I don't think that's that much better.
That explains why I didn't hear this, because I watched on Disney Plus. Good job, Disney, on covering that one up.
I don't remember it. I don't remember hearing that line, so I'm gonna guess that the version I watched also was just one of those edited versions.
You got scrubbed.
I did.
Also, other random fact. I want to go check Tim Allen's age. He's 69.
Heyo. Nice.
And I also found out Tim Allen's a stage name. His legal name is Timothy Allen Dick.
Yeah, a lot of actors go by their middle names when they have less than popular last names, or last names that
you just kind of like changed the spelling. So Allen legally is ALAN. He changed it to ALLEN, which I can respect, because something about ALAN doesn't sit right with me, and I can't explain why.
It looks too much like a second first name, and we don't trust people with 2 first names.
Too close to anal.
All right, well, I wasn't going to go that far, but
No, I think he
Fair
knew what was
enough, I
going on.
guess.
Last name Dick, middle name too close to anal. He knew what he was doing. He's protecting his career. Smart man.
I just saw recently that I think Jonah Hill also is one of those actors that go Hill is his middle name. He's got, I think, some kind of like very Jewish last name or
All right,
something to
well,
that extent.
I gotta look it up.
But he's like gonna legally change his last name to Hill now and drop his family name altogether or something like that was the article I saw.
All right, his legal name allegedly is Jonah Hill Feldstein or Steinstein.
Yeah.
I don't know how to read those.
Feldstein.
Yeah.
So he's going. He's gonna plan to, or maybe it already is it's happened, but he's planning to be Jonah Hill for realsies.
That's crazy.
Back on the
Actual movie?
on the adult jokes channel. For at least one more time when they're doing that first Christmas run, and he goes into, I believe it's the house that doesn't really have a chimney, so it's just got that tiny smokestack, and so maybe it was the first one, but either way, he's floating up there with Santa's sack because that's how it works. You grab onto the bag and it floats over to the nearest smokestack for the house and drops your ass in. And Charlie exclaims something like, Dad, you're flying!" And he's like, "It's all right, son. I lived through the 60s.
I didn't catch that one. Did you know what that one meant?
It's a drug thing.
Oh.
LSD, my friend, is a hell of a drug.
I have another fun fact for you then.
Oh, please, lay it on me.
Oh, hold on. Let me go read it for word
Wait,
for
that
word.
would make... Well, I guess no. That would make him a lot older than 30 then.
Who knows?
If he remembers, like, doing drugs in the 60s. If this is 1994. That would be, about 30 years prior. Hopefully he wasn't doing drugs at, like, 8 years old.
We hope.
So he was probably in his 40s or something in that movie. So timeline's not shaken out somewhere, I think. Just like inside this movie.
So also this fact I came across. On October 2nd, 1978, Allen was arrested at Kalamazoo/Battle Creek International Airport for possession for 650 grams of cocaine. That translates to 1.43 pounds of cocaine. He subsequently pleaded guilty to felony drug trafficking charges and provided the names of his dealers in exchange for a sentence of 3 to 7 years rather than life imprisonment. What a bargain.
That was in 78?
That was in 78.
Wow, we almost didn't have the Santa Claus.
If
he didn't snitch on all of them.
He paroled on June 12, 1981 after serving 2 years and 4 months in blank prison in Minnesota. Yeah.
Interesting.
I'm learning so much about Tim Allen today.
This is turning into a real subsequent roast of what's been happening here. Like, I don't know, man. Something's in the air.
It's fine. It was the 90s. Everything's fine.
No, it was the 70s at that time.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, I could believe this. I could never see Allen as a hippie.
Anyway, back on the movie again. So we like the movie though. Like overall, like this is a fun enough Christmas movie, right? Yeah,
this is still a good movie. It definitely, whatever nostalgia glasses you had holding on to since 1996 or whatever, those are gone. They're broken. They're shattered. All right, this movie does not hold up. Like, I didn't know. Like, there are so many things that I missed as a kid. Like, now watching this again, where I'm like, I remember all of these scenes. My brain didn't put together Scott having his custody rights revoked, or the fact that, like, I remember there being cops in the movie. My just little child brain did not process the fact that, like, Scott was on the run from police for kidnapping.
Yep.
What else did I miss? All the CGI in the movie, my brain does not remember the CGI. My brain just remembered, like, those scenes happening, but none of the stark contrast of 1994 CGI happening at all. Like, and somehow it's way more aggressive now that I'm watching it as an adult. I don't know what it is.
Well, because you've been exposed to all of these examples of actually good CG, but also, like,
really bad
equivalent,
CG.
Yeah, equivalently awful. So you know how to compare it. Especially that first shot of when he runs outside and sees the sleigh on his roof. The reindeer are CG at that point. The most points after that, when he interacts with the reindeer, I'm pretty sure those are like animatronic or something.
Pretty sure. That or
They
just a
look
dude really committed to his bit in an animal suit.
They do they do look very practical effects. So I'm pretty sure the reindeers in basically every other capacity, minus when the sleigh is flying. That's obviously pretty CG when they take those zoomed out shots of the sleigh flying through the air and whatnot. But yeah, I mean it's not bad. It was probably as good as they could have made it for 1994. But what a wild turn. Yeah, the back half of that movie is where it's this, they're gotta chase down Scott Calvin now, and the cops stake out the house, and he gets arrested, and then we have to call in the elves.
The elite liberating force. No, elite liberating. I forgot what the F stands for.
Yeah, I didn't write it down either.
It's elite liberating something squad. I forgot the F. What was it? Think, Justin. Think.
Flight? Is it Flight Squad?
Yeah, it's Flight Squad, I believe.
Yeah,
elite liberating
for
Flight
sure.
Squad.
And they just casually break Santa out of jail because this is a heist movie now.
Always has been.
It always has
really,
been.
you would really think about it. I feel like it always has been. It's always been a reverse heist. Like, instead of stealing, we're leaving stuff.
We're
behind.
becoming. It was kind of fun watching him deliver presents both in the first night and the second time around. Just his interactions inside each of the houses, especially with the sweet little girl who's sleeping on the couch. The first time around especially is funny, of course, because he's just coming to terms with it. She's like, "Why aren't you fat?" And he's like, I don't even remember what he says to that one.
Why aren't you fat? What would Scott Calvin say in that moment?
I don't know. I'm a vegetarian.
He said he was lactose intolerant, so I believe that.
He said why you guys are supposed to drink the milk or cookies? Like, I'm lactose intolerant, all right? And then the sweet little girl next year puts out soy milk,
and he is not
because
having
she remembered that he's lactose intolerant, and she had to go and tell mom and dad, like, Santa's lactose intolerant, we got to put out not real milk. And so the loving parents that they are go and buy soy milk for Santa Claus. And he drinks it. What? I think it's sour. She's like, no, it's soy milk, because I remembered. And he's like, yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
I'm thinking about all the vegans who watch this back, and they're just triggered by the fact.
Good. All of the milk alternatives are disgusting.
As a person who doesn't drink milk, I cannot comment.
Oat, almond, soy, it's all gross.
All I am left with is I just sit here like the internet and just asking, how do you milk an almond? Where do you make milk from soy? How do
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
But I just imagine 1994, all the vegetarians and very, very small amount of vegans, if there were any. Just
I bet you that was hard to find, actually.
Soy milk back in the day? Absolutely.
I bet you that soy milk was actually kind of hard to find.
That was definitely probably just like a really niche, like California, Silicon Valley, I'm rich and hip kind of market thing, you know?
Yeah. I didn't think about that. That'd be taken for granted. You could go down to the fucking stop and shop right down the street and I'd get it now.
Or
but
if anything,
I bet you that
it
was
was
a hot
just like
commodity.
It was just like the beginning stages of like, hey, like lactose intolerance is real. People like shit themselves. Like, maybe we should make alternatives.
These are real people too. They have problems.
So we should maybe try to help them out. And alternative milks are just starting to hit the market. I can just think about the headlines in '94 now. Just everyone roasting the idea of like alternatives. I can imagine a real news anchor just like, where is the tit on an almond? Where are you milking it from? I don't understand.
Although, speaking of alternatives and things getting shit on,
yeah,
Neil's job had to have been hard also back then, being a psychiatrist.
I can believe that due to personal things I would not get into. In my childhood, psychiatry and mental health in general were very, very, very misunderstood and not well accepted in our society. We've come quite a long way in 20-ish years, I will say. But yeah, Poor Neil, dude. That man was doing nothing wrong.
All right. Let's not poor Neil this man.
What do
He's
you
a
mean?
jackass for a lot of the movie.
I think his only genuine crime is just like ruining a kid's imagination. That is a crime, all right? I'm not forgiving him for that.
That is quite egregious, I think. For both of them to have him and
his mother.
Shit, what was the ex-wife's name?
Laura.
For the both of them to sit there and be like, yeah, Santa's not real. Deal with it. Live in the real world, idiot, jackass. When the kid is like 4 years old. Oh, and then for Neil to make this extremely bold claim that he had any sort of logical thought processes when he was 3 years old, asking for a Weenie Hut Jr. whistle for Christmas, and then to not get it, to then go, yeah, Santa's probably not real. I didn't get my Mr. Weenie whistle
3 years old,
for
a
Christmas.
Toddler, depending on what his upbringing was like. I can believe this. I can genuinely believe this. That like a toddler, and depending on what his childhood was like, that toddler could just be like, I asked Santa for a thing. The thing never showed up. Santa must not be real. I feel like this is like a perfect level of logic that a child could follow.
3-year-olds are still not quite people yet. They do not. I don't know how many small children you have been around.
Not many.
I have been around many. And while you are correct that they make very binary connections in their brains, Neil was just like, he had this whole like thought tree planned out. It's what he made it seem like, that he came to this conclusion that Santa Claus wasn't real at 3 years old. 3 years old. 3 years old. They're still like learning how to use forks and spoons to eat with.
Hey man, maybe you just had advanced accelerated development. You never know, man. I've seen some pretty impressive kids over my lifetime.
I guess, but like, it feels wild.
No, the wild part is like, there's very limited product placement, primarily Denny's. When Neil gets his whistle, when he said an Oscar Mayer weenie whistle, I heard those words initially, and I could not believe that was the intended order of those words. I was like, you mean the hot dog brand? And then lo and behold, you look at the whistle, and it's the Oscar Mayer weenie mobile in the form of a whistle, and I'm just there like, why is this a thing?
I had one of those when I was young.
What?
I'm not going to lie to you. It was a real thing.
Oh my God.
Those Oscar Mayer whistles. I did have one when I was younger.
Please tell me you still have it. I need to dust.
I don't believe it exists in my home anymore. If you find it
somewhere in the bowels of your basement, post a picture on Instagram. The world needs to see.
If I remember to look for it, I will, but I'm 99% confident that it does not exist in any home.
Absolutely wild.
Any part of my home, I should say. Yeah. Where were we again?
This is quite the ride we're on. We've talked a lot about things surrounding the movie, but not a whole lot the movie itself. Although,
I mean, the movie's not extraordinarily deep here.
It's not.
Like, we've glossed over like a few things, like his beginning transformations into Santa Claus hood. He goes to that corporate meeting, and some dude was trying to pitch Santa in a tank.
I'm gonna be real, that's egregious. Like, even for 1994, that is egregious. Like, Tim Allen had a point here. He's like, oh my God, wait, I'm just remembering the dialogue. He's like, oh yeah, what a great pitch. Hey, little girl, I hope you've been good, because I think Santa just took out the Jeffersons. Incoming! He's like, Santa and a Panzer, and I'm like, oh my God.
It's such a good scene. I love watching him go overboard in that meeting. And then they order lunch before that, and he orders all the desserts on the menu, and also a small salad. Reasons.
One, was that ever really a thing? You worked in like a really big business company, and they just had waiters in the building, and presumably like cooks down there too. And that was
Yeah,
just a
I'm
thing you
pretty
could
sure
do.
that is. I'm definitely. I can assure you that exists.
That is wild to me.
If they don't have the cooks in house, the food can still be ordered also. But
Absolutely wild.
yeah, just ordering lunch before a meeting or after even is.
It's mostly just like the waiter thing and the idea of like there's a kitchen somewhere in there just making all of these things.
Definitely.
Also, I'm not gonna lie to you. Both when I first saw this film as a young child, and even now watching it as an adult, I get something in me gets really excited every time I hear Tim Allen just order the entire dessert menu. I'm not gonna lie to you. The cookie, the ice cream, hot fudge sundae. I'm like, oh yeah, I wish that was me.
I mean, I can't deny that some of it doesn't sound good. But to eat it all like that in the middle of the day would slow me down immensely. I would just knock out or go home after that. There would be no working. There would be no meeting. I would just be gone.
God, that comfy looking chair, just lean back a little.
Yeah, for real though.
Mm-hmm. All right. What else in this movie really sticks out, or what anything else to really grab onto here?
I don't have anything in particular. I just I just think this is a nice Christmas movie. There are better ones out there. I think this one is fairly, I mean, most Christmas movies are like turn your brain off and just enjoy the holiday spirit aspect of it, but this is one that I could watch. You know, I can tolerate this watching with like some little cousins or something like that. If I was in my own home, I absolutely not. To be fair, I wouldn't watch any Christmas movie just on my own. Really, I don't do that. Yeah, I don't.
There's not some random classic that sticks out to you, like when I don't even know if this is still a thing. When ABC Family was a channel, they would do the 25 Days of Christmas, and they would just play Christmas specials all day, every day. We're into that.
The closest I ever come to that is, most years I'll watch Charlie Brown Christmas with my mom because she loves the Charlie Brown everything.
I generally like Christmas specials, but most of my interest is invested in like animated stuff. 'Cause I don't know. I guess there's just easier things you can do, or not easier things you can do. You have room for more creativity when you're using animated stuff. I think it just, I don't know. I just have a preference
unless
for it.
We're talking about everyone's favorite Christmas movie, Die Hard, then you know then I might watch Die Hard by myself, but just about anything else I don't think I would. There are Christmas movies that I do end up watching every year, but on like Christmas Eve or something like that, or just in the living room with my family, or to that extent, like It's a Wonderful Life is one we'll watch every year.
I don't think I've seen that. That's the like one from like the 60s or something, or even earlier.
It's even earlier. It's a black and white film.
Yeah. I don't think I've seen that one.
Yeah, that's like a classic movie that we watch every year for the most part, especially because my uncle loves it, but the whole family generally is into it. Yeah. Anything else on this here movie?
No. I will say that it is reignited some nostalgia for me. I got a little nostalgia flame going. I might go back and watch the sequel after this. Who knows? Santa Claus 2 and remembering like older Charlie coming back to the series seems kind of neat.
Yeah, I wonder what I probably never watched the new Disney Plus show, but I wonder what like 35-year-olds Charlie is doing now. And like in that show especially. I think he's probably surely he has like a wife and kids to deal with now, right?
Still prepping his entire life to be the next Santa. He's like, I'm ready to take on the family business, Dad.
Yeah. There's all right, we can move on to like some more like, I don't know, specifically if you have any dedicated favorite moments we haven't mentioned yet, but there's a moment at the end of the movie where he says he's going to take up the family business after Neil tells him he'd make a great psychiatrist. And Charlie seems fairly intelligent for his age, you know.
Like the lines they are feeding this kid at his age kind of blow me away. I'm like, this kid is very introspective and like low key kind of woke. What's happening?
Yeah. Okay, he's about 8 years old. So that's according to ScreenRant.com. He's 8 years old in the first movie. So yeah, I mean, he's a fairly intelligent 8-year-old. This is what does 8 years old get you in school? Probably like third grade.
Yeah, you're in third grade.
Yeah, I mean, you can form coherent thoughts at that point.
I'll never forget. There was a kid I grew up with from like pre-K to like probably up to third grade when I was in that school. His name was Michael, and he was the one kid. Like whenever people ask, like, "Oh, what do you want to be when you grew up?" He was the only kid to have one answer and one answer only, and it had never changed up until the time I like stopped seeing him in the real world. And it was the one job I could not understand at like 5 years old. He said he wanted to be an architect. And my God, a 5-year-old knowing what an architect is and would do, and him like fully understanding the job and, you know, knowing what that would mean he needs to study and stuff like that blew my mind. I was like,
did you ever find out if maybe his family was into architecture?
I don't know. I want to assume his dad was an architect. I don't know that for sure.
Because an ultra-specific job, well, maybe not ultra-specific, but a specific job like that tends to indicate that they have someone in the family that does that.
I imagine it was probably like a family business thing, or like his dad.
He was like super into Legos, and his dad told him what architecture was one day. Who knows?
Michael, I won't say your last name to dox you. I hope you're doing all right out there, and I hope you became an architect just like you always dreamed.
I can't say I had a dream at any point really as to what I wanted to be when I grew up.
I still don't. Still trying to figure that out at 26.
Big yikes.
Hey, fuck
off. I just want to. I feel like we haven't thoroughly enough hammered home this one part though. The idea that somehow, despite the fact that there's a psychiatrist in this movie, that Scott Calvin ended up being the one making most sense at any point. Like, not only like the part where he's telling the truth about being the Santa Claus and all of that, but like the imagination part, like the part where these two adults violently rip away like this portion of a kid's childhood, and Scott Calvin goes like, "Oh, wouldn't want kids running around using their imaginations or something crazy like that." Like, I was like, "Damn!" Like, he's kind of an asshole about it, but he's making a whole lot of sense.
The 90s were a strange time.
I feel like that needs to be firmly established that somehow this like, at this point, he is the greedy, money grubbing, sell BS toys to kids, businessman that he is, but he'll still come home and be like, yeah, fuck it, give the kid a cardboard box and let him pretend it's a 90-foot tall fort. Like, who cares? He's a kid. That's what they're supposed to do. Like, the fact that Scott Calvin is the one saying that, like, is kind of mind-boggling. But
you just reminded me when, at some point of the many, many interrogations, as I'll phrase it, that Neil gives Charlie throughout the film, they're sitting in the living room with like the globe, and he's just trying to like, he's interrogating him like, hey, like, how does this make sense, Charlie? Like, how does Santa get to people's houses when they don't have chimneys? How does Santa get around the world? How does he do this and that? And Charlie asked him, have you ever seen $1 million? He's like, no. Like, well, just because you haven't seen it doesn't mean it's real. And I was like, man, I feel this too much. I hate you.
Yeah, this kid's on his, screw psychology. This kid's got the next Plato. He's the next Socrates over here. He's been philosophy at 8 years old. It's also wild.
I'm not gonna lie to you. You said like Plato, the Greek philosopher. I heard Plato, and I'm like, Christian, where are you going with this?
Yeah, no, the kid is Plato. He is a pile of I mean, kids are Plato. They are piles of malleable substance that can be shaped into whatever you want them to be. That was too deep. I can't. I need memes again. Quick, feed me something funny.
My life.
Talk about. Ooh, that's not. Ooh, I don't know. Give me another Tim Allen felon or some felony charge.
I mean, he actually does. Like, well, I don't think it was a felony. It might have been a misdemeanor.
All right, let's not then. Never mind. I changed my mind.
You got caught for a DWI charge.
No. We don't need to go into Tim Allen's felony history. I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to read you comments and concerns.
Oh?
Because our resident commenter and concerner, Jordy, is not here to give us this. So I had to take it upon myself to visit the deepest, darkest pits of these websites to find the best reviews I could. You ready?
Go on.
So I'm going to start off with one I've kind of already talked about. Somebody wrote, Kid of the Year award goes to the girl who left soy milk out for Santa because he said was lactose intolerant the year before. And I agree.
What a gem.
It's one of the cutest parts of the movie. Next, this movie is 97 minutes of ripping on psychiatry, and I loved every second of it.
I can't believe, like, I don't remember the times back then enough to just really think to myself, like, why did people seemingly, judging from this one movie, hate psychiatrists so much? This man got ragged on so hard by everyone.
Yeah. Because even faced with the truth, he recognizes, like, he has that moment where he goes bug-eyed and he goes, Santa? And then Bernard walks in
and then disappears
with the pocket, not a tortilla. What am I looking for?
Like he's
here?
having a falafel or pita or something.
He had a stuffed pita bread. That from the kitchen, from their dinner that he just took off the table and started eating. He walks in with the pita bread, and you go like, "Oh, time to go. We're on a short budget here." And Neil slams himself against the wall, and as he sees Bernard with pointy ears on display and everything, and then he disappears, and he's like, "Where the hell did he go?"
My man is just having a really vivid existential crisis.
He is being mind broken. He is completely mind broken in these moments. And speaking of, I have another review here. Bernard the Elf or Timothy Chalamet with dreads. The world may never know. I thought that one was really good.
That's good.
Timothy Chalamet, for those who don't know, is the most, I guess, recently known for his lead role in the hit film Dune.
I've been hearing his name dropped like everywhere on the internet recently, and I'm just here like, who are you? Like, I vaguely know who you are, but like, who are you?
He's an actor, gaining lots of notoriety for Dune, especially, but he has been in other things.
Also, I love how you said Dune. Can I tell you
what those things are? I have no idea.
Oh, I mean, no, okay. I mean, for some reason, you kept saying Dune, and my brain went to Ender's Game. Could not tell you why.
Okay, interesting.
The wires, man, they be crisscrossing applesauce and up in here.
I guess so. Lastly, I will leave you with this. Probably my favorite one of all of them. The best part about this movie is when Neil tells Charlie he's going to make a great psychiatrist someday, and Charlie is like, nah, I think I'm going to go into the family business, implying he's going to kill his dad someday to become Santa. How I love Chris's family-friendly entertainment.
That's so good.
This was like the second review I found on one website, and I was I was giggling to myself, and I think Justin heard me too. It was like, "What's going on?" It was like, I'm 2 reviews deep, and I've already found the best shit ever.
I struck gold, and I didn't even have to try that hard.
This was that review.
Oh my god, that's good. That's real good.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So,
that's comments concerns. You got any quotes? I'll just go first. I got my one that I wrote down.
Yeah, hit me with that too. Why not?
As I open up my phone, can I get to my quote, please? When does he say this? Okay, so it's so Tim Allen says this as him and Charlie are like finishing their run on Christmas morning. He's like, oh, Merry Christmas to all, and so all a good night. And when I wake up, I'm getting a CAT scan.
I remember that
was
one.
Good. That's it for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any specific quotes that we haven't already like mentioned before. I wrote down like I lived through the '60s one as well. That was a banger. That's really about it. For me here. I don't know, like, sometimes we'll do stuff we would rewrite or change in these movies, but I don't know. I don't know necessarily what I would change. Maybe not have the back half involves, like, police chases and all of this police activity. I don't know. It feels a little out of left field.
It is a weird plot line to incorporate, freaking the legal system. It's like, hey, yeah, you lost like the right to see your kid. You're also under arrest for kidnapping, all this other stuff. Something I would change is I think they should have, like, as the year presumably goes on and Tim Allen becomes more Santa-like, I personally would have appreciated more direct contact with like the North Pole. Like maybe have Bernard pop up once or more times, like to Tim and talk to him, or somehow Tim's like, I wonder if that dream is really real. And then, he actually takes a flight to the North Pole, or I don't know, he pulls a Totally Spies, gets stuck into a vacuum and ends up at the North Pole, one of those things. Just something. The middle / back half of the movie just feels kind of hollow, with just like really odd, like time skips and lapses and whatnot. And I'm like, there's so much more that could be done here, I think. So much more useful dialogue or scene adding, whatever the case is. I think there's more that could have been done that would have like not make this movie feel hollow to me. I feel like it's really important. Like the movie, I feel like the real meat of it is in like the first 30 minutes and then the last like 20, give or take.
Yeah, I that's very fair. They do, especially upon leaving the North Pole, Bernard exclaims like, "Oh, they've got so much shit to do and only a year to do it." And then Santa Claus plays zero active role in it, at least that we see anyway in this movie. And they do kind of remedy that by spending a lot more time in the subsequent movies in the North Pole. But yeah, you're right. In this movie, there is almost an egregious lack of North Pole activity in this. It would be nice to see if he had done any sort of administrative work, delegation to his elven workers. That probably all fell on Bernard's lap instead. Not that was something he probably wasn't used to, because he seems well and done with it, especially given the fact that they're like thousands of years old also, which is wild. Which also boggles my mind as well.
Little Justin did not remember that.
Not the fact that they're thousands of years old, that's fine, but like, why can't Santa also enjoy this?
Exactly.
Part?
Like, why
can't
are the
he
elves
also enjoy this
a
feature?
millennium old, but Santa ages normally and retires at 65? I don't understand.
They must have a wall of Santa Clauses somewhere in the North Pole of like all the presidents are lined up in the.
I'm thinking of that episode from Avatar in the Eastern Air Temple, where it's just all the Avatar statues lined up.
Yeah, just a big ass spiraling tower, except it's all portraits of the hundreds of Santa Clauses they've encountered over the years, because they still age like normal humans.
I want to meet the first Santa. That's what we need. We need a Santa Claus movie about the first Santa. That's what we need.
We need the Avatar wand of Santa Claus universe.
Disney, get on it.
Yeah, that should be the next Disney Plus show. Like, forget all this Scott Calvin business. Have the next guy ruin the Santa Claus cycle somehow, and then have to go back to his Christmas spirit
He lost all his
or
magic
something.
and has to get it back.
Yeah,
but to get it back, he has to go back to the past.
All right, well, I think that's about it. I think we've done a fairly good job of more or less talking about the Santa Claus. You have any closing thoughts for us?
Two random things that popped up in our conversation. His interaction with Veronica and her calling him a slave boy. I don't know why that's so funny to me.
Oh,
when he's walking down the street and he's like naughty or nice to these kids, and then he sees Veronica's like, Veronica, very nice, and she's like, not in your dreams, slave boy. And I'm like,
but like in a flirty way almost.
Yeah, I was like, you said no, but with a question mark. I think I don't know. I'm confused.
If he had followed, she might not have objected to it. Who knows?
And what was the other thing? Right. I was thinking to myself when I started watching the movie, little Justin didn't see the issue with Tim Allen's character as a father. Now that I'm older, I'm like, oh, this is why you're like a bad dad or like a struggling one.
Oh yeah,
like little me would have been like, yo, Denny's for Christmas, let's go. I don't even know what Denny's is, but it sounds cool.
No, yeah, awful father
mm-hmm.
at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, I think that's it for me.
All right. Well, I've got nothing else left to say. So why don't you close us out with the thing?
Thank you everyone for listening to us. Shout out to Darian, I believe. You're the one who recommended this film to us, due to you being one of our highest tier subs on Patreon.
Not one of, the highest.
Well, he is the highest. We're hoping to get 2 more. Fill up the slot, you know? Anyway, thank you for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, thank you. If you wish to follow us on social media, you can do so on Instagram and Twitter at Panda Sightings. If you wish to write us an email talking about this movie or anything else, really, you can do so at pandasightings@gmail.com. If you wish to financially support us and be a fellow high top tier member like Darian, you can do so over on patreon.com/pandasightings. And if you wish to join a community filled with lovely, lovely people who talk about all different types of things, you may do so on our community Discord. And you can find that in the link tree on all of our social media platforms and probably in the bio of this podcast on Spotify, Apple, wherever else you get your podcast from. Did I do good?
That sounded pretty good to me, I would say.
Thank
you to everybody. Thank you, Justin, for joining me on this night.
Thank you for helping me stroll down memory lane.
Yeah. I feel like I've gained a new sense for the Christmas spirit.
We're actually at the night we're recording this. It's only a couple days deep into December. We don't know when this will be released, but who knows? Maybe this could be a Christmas special for some of you.
For the general public, because this will make its appearance on Patreon first. Probably.
Right.
It will. And then the general public will probably see this at post-Christmas. So, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Hanukkah.
Merry Kwanzaa. Unless Dylan decides that he wants to expedite this or something like that. In which case, actually, now that I think about it, didn't Street Kings come out like right away?
You know what? You're right.
That might be true. Ignore everything I just said in the last 30 seconds to a minute. But happy holidays anyway.
We love you and have a good night.
Bye.